Welcome to 9 Divine Permissions. I felt like we needed to review some things. This is a talk that I love to give that helps you kind of get your arms around, especially if you're just kind of starting this manifesting journey, and it gives you some things to refresh and kind of reignite if you are not new to this manifesting journey, because all of these things are rooted in self-love and self-appreciation. And you know, in my world, in my manifesting camp, so to speak, we focus a lot on worthiness and self-love and standing in your power as the creator of your reality. So for those of you that are new to me, I started this group, this space, about 7+ years ago. And I really wanted a place for conscious creators and spiritual seekers to be able to like connect with each other and connect with me, and for me to be able to like have a common ground, right? For us to come in and really like share successes and dive into this thing called manifesting. Sometimes people say, exactly what do you do? And I'm like, yes, I teach manifesting. Yes, I teach conscious creation. But I also really help you with 3 journeys. And the first one is the transformation of self. It's your worthiness journey. It's your standing in your power journey as a worthy conscious creator. It's the transformation journey. I help you with your energy journey. That's the energetics of this. And I also help you in the frequency and the calibrating to your desires. And I also help you with the conscious intentional manifestation of your dreams. And so the way that I see it is that, you know, we have 3 separate journeys kind of happening at the same time because of this work. People come out and they want to manifest their best life. And the way that I teach and what I have come to know and realize so well, that you really can't separate like the becoming of yourself from the manifestation of your desires. So I teach a lot about the quantum field. I teach a lot about becoming one with the field, teaching a lot about how to connect to the universe, teach a lot about partnering with the universe, a lot about alignment. And when we are just like coming into this work, or even when we're going through something that is very human oriented, our challenges sometimes are really difficult challenges, right? Feel very like in the nitty gritty humanness. When we're going through that, sometimes it makes sense to like revisit these beginnings, these 9 divine permissions. So when we set out to this manifesting journey, I'm always talking about like self-love and appreciation, and why is that so important? It isn't just about like transforming yourself. It isn't just about being good to yourself. It really is about standing in your power and connecting to the power of the universe. So one of the hardest things, and raise your hand if it's you, but one of the hardest things that we, I think, encounter is like truly loving ourselves, truly standing in our worth, because we've been taught something different our whole life. We've absorbed a different belief system our whole entire life. So I take you back to this place that says, all right, if you're going to come to do manifesting work, do it in the name of self-love and appreciation. If you're going to come to create your most amazing empire, do it in the name of self-love and appreciation. If you're going to come and learn how to just even be happier, do that in the name of self-love and appreciation. So Abraham said a quote many years ago that I thought was brilliant, and I say it all the time, but they said the appreciation of self and the appreciation of others is the highest vibrational match to source energy that we've heard anywhere in this universe. And the way that I see it is that you are your first vibration. The self-love that you have, the worthiness that you stand in, that is your very first vibration. So when you stand there, all right, when you go there, when you stand there, and when you do the work that I'm about to talk to you about very shortly, when you do this in the name of self-love and appreciation, it connects you to the divine source. It connects you to the quantum field. It connects you to all that is. And why is that? Because it's a vibrational match. Love matches love. So if I were to say to you, what is this divine universe? It's love. If I was to say to you, what are you? You would say, well, I'm just human. I'm like, yes, but bigger than that. If we broke it down, I would say you are love as well. So when you become a vibrational match to love in this human experience, you're becoming a vibrational match to the quantum field. And when you do that, it's like the floodgates open up, and that's when manifesting can happen. That's when you find the true alignment that you're seeking. That's when the power that you hold within you becomes amplified, because self-love is your first vibration. Love is your first vibration. Love is who you are. So the things that I'm going to talk to you about tonight, the 9 divine permissions, I want you to say right now in the name of self-love and appreciation, and that's always the exercise. I want to give myself permission. I'm going to give myself permission at the end of the day to be in these places, not just for this week, but all the time. This is a perfect tee up, right? To always managing our humanness. So with that said, is to give yourself permission to be human. And that is number 1. But even more than like, know this, I want you to think about how it would feel to say this. So even how it would feel to type this. And so in the chat, I would love it if you guys would walk through with me. And as I say these permissions to you, I want you to feel into not only the statement that they are, but I want you to imagine for a moment that you actually claim that permission, that you own that permission, that you ignite that permission, and that you make it be in your body the minute that you say. You make it be in your body the minute that you speak it, right? The minute that you type it. I want you to feel the ownership of these 9 divine permissions, because oftentimes we can say, I give myself permission, but we really don't make the shift from, I just need to give myself permission to permission granted. So there's like this feeling of, I give myself this permission slip to kind of entertain this idea, but then there's this like ownership that feels like done deal, permission granted. So I want you to feel that. Can you tell me if that resonates with you? I want you to feel into the difference between knowing something, leaning into something, and owning something. So in the chat, write this for me. I give myself permission to be human. And what does that mean? It's like, it's not like, I just give myself permission to be up in my quirks and be the all that I am. It's not just that, but it is like I give myself permission to be imperfect. I give myself permission to be human, and that's imperfect and flawed and glorious. I give myself permission to be human. I want you to feel into that as if it's a done deal. I want you to feel into that language, write it in the chat as if it is as if it's your declaration. I want you to write that in and feel the difference between a little permission slip that you might lean into and permission granted. Permission granted, I give myself permission to be human. And what does that mean for you? And while I could talk about that, good, awesome, keep them coming. And while I could talk about that for maybe a couple years, right? Because it really does seem to be what we're dealing with here. The work is about ego work, right? But feel into what that might be for you. I give myself permission to be human. That means when I look back, I don't shame myself. That looks like when I'm standing in my present moment, I don't beat myself down in criticism. That means as I look out to my future, I don't think to myself, I can't, or I won't, or I'm not good enough. I give myself permission to be human. So keep them coming. I want you to feel the ownership of that. These 9 divine permissions are really important, especially if you find yourself struggling. It's like there's places to clean up emotionally that can help you like claim that sense of power that you have within you. The only thing that keeps you separate from it is what you think. So how does this feel to you? Tell me if this feels good to stand in this place. Yes, good job, you guys. All right. Divine permission number 2. Divine permission number 2. I give myself permission to want what I want. So what I've seen, and write that down and feel the difference between I give myself permission to want what I want a little bit. Maybe I'll give myself a little permission slip on that. Maybe I can have I give myself permission to like want what I want. a little fiercely, with certainty, permission granted. Feel that. Just feel what it feels like to have language that lands you there. Because this is as much of an activation sequence as any, are these 9 divine permissions. You know, it's like I'm activating permission to get, to create, to live the life that I want to, okay? Hello, ladies and gentlemen, by the way. Hi, Connie. Hi, Beverly. Wonderful. I'm hearing you. Tell me how this feels to you. I'm going to walk you through these permissions tonight, almost like activation style. Laura, she's like, feels like relief, right? So I want to show you the power of the work. You know, when you make a shift like this, it really can be powerful. Okay. I give myself permission to want what I want. So oftentimes we've been taught that we cannot want what we want because X, Y, Z. So sometimes there's a reason for that. Sometimes there's a story that you've been told. Sometimes there's a something like lodged in your history that would be noise or stickiness or like mistruth or illusion about why you think you shouldn't, you can't want what you really want. Maybe you were taught to want what you want would make you what? Greedy, not nice, right? All of those things. So I give myself permission to want what I want, not just a permission slip, not just leaning into it, permission granted fiercely, anchor that in yourself. I give myself permission to want what I want, finally, once and for all, right? So that I can feel you. It's like a pressure valve released, right? So what we're doing right now is we're just like jumping over for a moment, like what the ego thinks, what the mind thinks, the noise, the mistruths, right? The thoughts that someone made up somewhere along the way that said you can't have it your way. And I just want to say, who made that stuff up? I love to say, who made that up anyway? Who made that up, right? So feel into that and tell me what it's like. Empowering and validating, good. And when you write them, imagine that it's like this standard that you are, it's like a contract with yourself, that you erase all things that were standing in the way of that, and you literally get in your present moment, just activating this. The next one is a bit sticky, divine permission number 3. I give myself permission to put myself first. Okay, I should have maybe started with that one, honestly. But we have been conditioned to put everyone first all the time, and we run on an empty cup all the time, and we never quite have enough to give to our loved ones anyway, because we never have a full cup in our own self. So we've always been taught it is good to put somebody else first. It is kind to put somebody else first. And guess what? Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. But what happens is that gets turned around and we never put ourselves first. It gets to be where all of a sudden everybody else comes first. I talk to women who will say to me, Lori, it's my time. It is like my time to grow myself, to evolve myself, transform myself. And I'm this age. And they have a judgment that it's way too late and they're way too old. And I say, nope. And they say, but I wish I would have known this earlier. And I'm like, it doesn't matter where you are. You start right here. You put yourself first, no matter what age you are. And you just start the work. But know that when you can put yourself first, what does that look like? It might mean that you sometimes say no. It might mean that you sometimes delegate. It might mean that you do something that you want to do and it's not dictated by what somebody else wants you to do. Maybe you do what's right for you instead of doing what's right for somebody else all the time. So we've been like conditioned on these things. So I want you to feel what it's like for a minute to activate this like permission granted. Once again, not like, well, I'll put myself first, maybe. I want you to feel into this. I'm going to put myself first. I put myself first. Permission granted. Feel this. And what if you gave yourself permission to put yourself first and make choices for yourself first, and you knew that the psychology of that was actually a little bit more accurate, that I'm going to give to everyone else, burn myself out, and have nothing to give anyway, instead of I give to myself and I give to myself, and actually that makes some sense, because when I do, I have more to give to others. That makes sense, right? So, but we are conditioned and we do it the opposite all the time because we want to be selfless. And now I'm like, it's time to be a little bit more selfish. And if you don't like the feeling of being selfish, be selfful. That's actually the workaround. Because egos are weird and minds are weird, and they want to keep us small and safe in our comfort zone and looking good to the rest of the world. And and as much as I don't want to say this out loud, I'm going to say it, but sometimes we are very concerned about what it looks like to put myself first to the rest of the world. We're very concerned about how people might judge us if we did something for ourselves instead of everyone else. But it's flawed thinking. Do you feel me? It's flawed thinking that creates burnout, adrenal burnout. It creates anxiety, it creates depression, it creates fatigue, it creates a cascade of bodily stress that I don't wish on any of you. So I want you to feel into taking a nice deep breath. In the name of self-love and appreciation, I put myself first, maybe for the first time ever, and not just leaning into it. Permission granted. You can give yourself a permission slip, but that's usually just a hall pass. Permission granted to the end of time. How would that feel? Click into it. It's definitely like a different place, right? And if you have noise coming up, it's golden to hear the noise and say, what's in my way? And then there's work to be done. How are you liking this? How's this feeling for you? Yep, I have difficulty with that one. I hear you, Andrea. That's right. How do you feel? Tell me if this resonates. Yes. So, number 4. Number 4. I want you to think bigger. I give myself permission to have a bigger vision. I give myself permission to, good, I'm glad you love this, to keep let me know what's resonating. And if I hit one, by the way, kind of keep track of like which ones are yours, because maybe not all 9 are yours, but maybe 3 of 9 are yours, or 5 of 9, or some are really hitting home. So I give myself permission to think bigger. So there was a time in my life when I decided that I would give myself permission to think bigger, and I would give myself permission to think and feel into and trust the quantum field more than my reality, more than what I was looking at. So when people said, you can't have all of that, or that won't come together for you, I was like, it's so funny, because I've learned to trust the quantum field. And I've learned in the magic, and I've learned that results come from an unexpected, miraculous place. And I've learned that I can dial up my vision and I can think bigger than I ever have before. And so interestingly, when I do and I get out of my own way, the universe can orchestrate that in my favor. It is divine and miraculous. But here's the thing. We do not give ourselves permission to think bigger. We do not give ourselves permission to like have this ginormous, ridiculous, I can have everything vision, because, well, number one, how could that all happen? How could that really happen? Could we really get it all served up? Could it really be that good? Could it really be that amazing? Could it be? I'll tell you, you'll never know unless you go here and give yourself permission to get out of the expectation box that keeps you suffocated. So, quite simply, Tim and I just bought this house together, as you guys know. And we had gone to an open house, and I said to the realtor, I mean, I know we live in Wisconsin and everything, but I don't want moldy windows. I would like vinyl windows. I would like this and that. I would just like, I had this like, we had things that were so important to us. And she said, well, good luck with that. You're never going to find something that has all those things. And what's amazing is that the house that we live in has all of those things and actually more. And it's not like we had such an amazing builder here. It's because all the things were orchestrated to us, for us, and yes, created really with us, that we landed and we knew. Down to the vinyl windows, down to where the bedrooms were, down to the space that we had, down to the sun exposure, down to all these little details. And miracles happened to get us here. Many, many miracles happened. I should tell this story one of these days, like in its entirety. So I want to give you permission, like, to think bigger, because just because someone said you can't have it that way doesn't mean that it's going to go down that way. So start trusting in the quantum field more than your reality, and you're going to give yourself permission to think bigger anyway. So I give myself permission to think bigger, lean into that, permission granted. How big can you go? And how big are you willing to see it? And if it's money for you, can you dial that up? Can you vision that? Can you give yourself permission? Can you say, why not? Can you say, why not me? These are the questions. Okay. How does this feel? I want to help you anchor these. These are great gateways. They are great starting points. They're great. These are all frequency. They're all vibrational openings for you to start the work. Wendy, I gave myself permission to think bigger than I ever have before. Hey, Victoria. Good. I'm seeing your permissions. I love the anchoring that's happening. Judy, I can instantly apply these to my life. Right. And you know what's crazy is sometimes we've been living these unpermissions. Is that a word? We've been living the other way for so long that we don't even realize it. Is anyone in this room having that experience where like, holy smokes, I'm on autopilot and that just runs in the background of my life. I didn't even realize that I wasn't letting myself go there. Okay, what's next? So number 5 is I give myself permission to be my authentic self. I give myself permission to be me. Write it how it feels to you. I give myself permission to be me. So we walk around in the same vein of some of these, like trying to please everybody else, trying to seek approval, trying to, get the kudos, trying to be who we think we need to be accepted in this world, right? And I want to give you permission, and I want you to give yourself permission to be exactly me. So when I was developing this business, I can remember thinking things like, holy smokes, they would say, the powers that be would say, you have to have your XYZ teacher personality, and you have to have this, and you have to have that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I gave myself permission, probably 7 years. I mean, I've been in this business for 24 years, but I gave myself permission when I actually started teaching. And especially in this group, and especially on social media, I said, well, I can't really hang out being who I'm not, because they'll never recognize me in a million years. And so I just started this journey of who is my authentic self? What does that mean? What does that look like? I have all kinds of quirks all day long. I have all kinds of Loriisms, all kinds of ways that I say things, all kinds of things that have worked for me in manifesting, and that I've just literally decided to bring to you. And that is what has worked for me. It's to be my authentic self as much as I possibly can. And sometimes that means I get a little rattled. Sometimes that means I'm imperfect. Sometimes that means I'm off some days. It just is. Now Luna wants out. So, but I want to encourage you to look at this permission, like, what part of you are you not revealing? You know, what part of you are you changing so that you're accepted by others? Who are you being in your work life, in your dating life, in your family life, in your friends' life, in your circles? Is there any part of you that says, I am not showing up as my absolute true blue to me, true blue to you, authentic self? What would that look like and what would that feel like? And when you go there, it's so interesting how aligning that is, because all of a sudden you're like, holy smokes, I don't spend all this energy being that who I'm not. And I have all kinds of energy left to vision and create and to feel and align and to work on the things that I would need to work on, right? The things that need tweaking in my life. I have all kinds of space. So I want you to say this: I give myself permission to be authentically me. What would that look like and feel like? Who would I be? What would I do? And if you feel like you're not sure who she is yet, that's okay. But just to invite that conversation between you and your inner being and try to like bring the vibration of your inner being closer to the frequency of your humanness, and find a way to like merge those things and just embrace who you are. And that might mean that you embrace a different career. Like, how many in this room are doing work that is not an expression of your authentic self? Whoa, that's a big one. It's not just that I should dye my hair blue if I feel like it, or get a tattoo, or speak my truth. It's like, whoa, what if I'm not doing my thing? What if I'm not doing my purpose? What if my authentic light has been called to something else for so very long and I'm not doing that? Whoa. Could you give yourself permission for a moment to lean into that? That's big stuff, isn't it? So take a deep breath. Lean into that. Permission granted. All right, let me know. How's this feeling as we anchor this? How does this feel? Good? Does this feel right on for you? Next on the menu, number 6, I give myself permission to drop the shoulds and the have-tos. I give myself permission to drop the shoulds and the have-tos. Tell me something that you feel like you should do, but you don't want to do. Tell me something that you think you have to do, but you don't want to do. It kind of keeps you out of choice, right? You're like, holy smokes, I have to do this. I don't have a choice. And when you live in, I have to do this, I don't have a choice, which actually will lead me to another permission. I'll maybe do that one next. We'll swap it up. But when you're there, you feel the resistance in that when you're like, I have to do that. I should do that. There was a day when I decided, I'm like, I love my people so much, but I just have to stop shooting on myself to send Christmas cards. And it's one of those things. And I'm not suggesting that you guys don't send Christmas cards, but send Christmas cards or do anything with the right intent, with the right energy. And so what that did for me was help me restore some of my energy, believe it or not. And so I decided that based on a string of events that happened during a very stressful holiday season for me, that I just said, I am going to stop shooting on myself. I'm going to not send Christmas cards. And that's okay. So I want you to look at your life and say, where am I shooting on myself, and where are the have-tos that I have got lined up that are what's the word? It's like the have-tos that are kind of choking off and pinching off and suffocating the expression of the light that you are. So rather than the have to of the Christmas card, for example, I very much would rather express my light some way else. And that might be a live stream to all of you. That might mean a photo shoot with my children in the snow, which, by the way, is what I do, and I send to my family digitally. Not a card, not a stamp, not an address. All of those things, so much noise for me. So I want you to look at some of the small things of your life, but I also want you to look at some of the big shoulds that you might have that might be huge, problematic, in you being the expression of the love that you are, or the expression of your purpose. Look at those things. Look at those things. I give myself permission, so let's anchor in this for a minute. I give myself permission to drop the shoulds, to not should on myself. I give myself permission to not should on myself. Permission granted, done deal. And if you feel like resistance around this, take a look at it. There's work to do on any of these. If you feel resistance, if you feel tightness, if you feel like, oh my gosh, take a look at it. There's realignment to do. Along those same lines, give yourself permission to choose. I am at choice. I am at choice. I choose. Give yourself permission to choose. I am at choice. Can you feel that? Permission granted. I give myself permission to choose. My life, my way. My life, my way. Like, who said? Who said you have to do it somebody else's way? And so it's like, when we really come into like the power of your choice. Now, you might not love your job and you might not quit it tomorrow, but you still have to say, I could. I am at choice. I could. It might give me a tighter financial situation, but I could. And so I may not choose that right now, but I have to realize I literally am at choice, and I might not be ready yet, but I am at choice. I am not in this prison of life. I get to do it my way, and I get to figure it out. I get to manifest it, and that is powerful. Isn't it cool to think like, whoa, where I think I'm not at choice, I maybe am, and I could manifest something different? Not only could I, like, theoretically, and in all the philosophy, it makes sense that you can choose, right? But even more so, you can manifest, right? It's like I give myself the power to choose. Permission granted, but I give myself permission to manifest, right? Holy smokes, that's alarming. That's good news. That's amazing. Like, what would that look like? What would that look like? So, tell me how it feels to anchor that. So number 8, right? Are we on 8? This is number 8, right? 6, 7, I swapped it out. This is number 8. Okay, number 8, permission to not settle ever. Can you feel this? I give myself permission to not settle. And it kind of goes along with everything we've been saying, but this is like, I give myself permission to not settle. But here's the thing, like, once again, it doesn't have to be this brute energy either that says, I'm not settling. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? It can be like this soft, amazing, feminine frequency that's like, oh my gosh, I give myself permission to never settle again. And it's not to lean into it and give myself a little permission slip for the day. It's to say, permission granted. And it's not only that I give myself permission to not settle. It's like, I don't have to anymore. And then why? Well, because we have this work, number 1. But number 2, I want to hold you as the goddess creator that you are. And I want to hold you up. And I want you to like stand in your power. And I want you to not focus on your limits. I want you to focus on your limitlessness. So what does that feel like to you? Anchor that in you. I give myself permission to never settle again. Right? She agrees. She agrees. So tell me what that feels like. Anchor that in you for a moment today. Where have you been settling? Where have you been settling? And are you ready to not settle? Does it feel good to make the choice because you can, to not settle? Does it feel good to make the choice to not settle because you can manifest? You can make the choice, you can create something different, right? This isn't about what life serves up for you anymore. It's about what you create. And that's really powerful, isn't it? Miss Luna does not settle in any way, shape, or form. Miss Luna does not settle. All right, tell me how this feels ever again. Isn't it nice to say I give myself permission to never settle again, right? I know, kitten. All right. All right. So next on the menu, number 9. This is a sticking point for many, and it is this action piece, but I give myself permission to take big, bold, beautiful action towards my dreams, towards my desires, towards my transformation, towards the creation of my life, towards manifesting all that I desire. I give myself permission to take big, bold, beautiful action. And the reason that I want to focus on action for this last one for a moment here is because we sometimes want, and we know what we want, and we want to create what we want, but for some reason the comfort zone is well, it's comfortable. Let's just say that. And it's scary. So it's I give myself permission to take big, bold, beautiful action. And I am safe, by the way. The universe is conspiring in my favor. All is well. And it's time for me to step outside of this comfort zone, step outside of this bubble and do it a little bit differently. Because when I move, so does the universe. And then when the universe moves, so must I. So that's a call to you. If you are inspired, if you are feeling nudged, if you are feeling energy in motion, it just wants to burst out of you and it's time to create your reality. It's oh my gosh, give yourself permission to take the action. We want to take the action, but we need to give ourselves permission to take the action. It's okay. Big, beautiful action based on all the things, right? I give myself all these ways of seeing myself and seeing life. And when I anchor that in me, I can actually move, I can actually shift, and I can actually transform myself, which brings me back to the 3 journeys, right? It's the transformation of self, it's the calibration of your energy and your frequency, and it's the creation intentionally of the manifestation of your dreams. And you see how this all starts to kind of dovetail together when you give yourself first these permissions. It makes the work a little bit easier. All of a sudden you're maybe I can do that. Maybe I can create the life that I want to live. And we start to think differently and believe differently and vibe differently. And we really literally start to manifest something different. So permission granted. I give myself permission to take big, beautiful, bold action, no matter what that means, even if it's a little scary. I've done scary things in my life. I have done very scary things in my life. And, sometimes it feels hard and sometimes it feels impossible, but it starts with your permission right here, It starts with your permission. So I hope this is resonating with you. Talk to me a little bit. Keep the comments coming, you guys. I want to feel into what's moving you tonight. Tell me what resonated with you the most right now. Tell me which ones. I'm going to recap them really fast. I see the time. I also see my ticker on my... Not that I'm running by time. Not that I'm running on time. No, hold on a second. I was running actually today on battery life. That was my concern. We're good for a little bit. Holy smokes, I was starting to sweat. Okay, so tell me what resonated with you the most. It is almost pizza time. That's right. Laura, this makes me feel alive and happy. Good. Awesome. And I love seeing the anchoring statements here. Feel into this. Feel into what it how it moves you, how it shifts you. It's the power of the work. Melissa, I had a dream, I made it big, and I believe I could and did. Well, you just wrote a book, baby, so you can. Open up the possibilities. You know, when you start to open these gateways, we start to create different results. Kelly, it really helps to know that you have been through it. It gives me motivation, encouragement, and hope. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you for, that one open. Thank you for, being so transparent and open at times. It is very helpful. You are so welcome. I am as human as they come. I give myself all kinds of permission to be human, and I find that there's like this, it's like gold, you know? It's like when you find where your misalignment is, when you find, sometimes I say to myself, what is going on with that? Like, I've got some weird stuff coming up. What is that? And so, you know, I have so many other things that I could share with you about permissions. Like, for example, I give myself permission to be healed. It's not even on this list. It's not even on this list, but I give myself permission to be healed. And that means I give myself permission to work through what I need to work through. And so for me, I have stuff that bubbles and I say, okay, the triggers, the darkness, the stuff, the junk, it shows itself to be cleared. And I give myself permission to do all of this, but also to heal myself. So I give myself the permission to be completely human. And sometimes, yes, you know, I love sharing those moments with you because I want you to know we're in it together. And I am ferocious about the work, and I'm ferocious about my alignment because I'm always tending. You know, I'm like always tending to this garden because I love the feeling of the freedom, of the relief, and I love the results that I get when I turn my attention, when I do my own transformation, and I turn my attention to the intentional manifestation part, and I'm like, this is so juicy. And I know it's because I'm constantly clearing the channel. So I share that with you. I have so many stories. I have many stories. Always looking, always putting my alignment first, always putting my alignment over circumstance, always, 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 and clearing what needs clearing, because most of the time this is ego work. Most of the time this is mind work. Most of the time this is not about learning something new. It's learning that which you are not and letting go of the stuff that isn't serving you. So if this resonated with you, and you want to talk to me about how to deepen the work, further the work, if you want to talk to me about the Academy and other programming that we have, I have definitely something for everyone. Hashtag ready below. I would love to reach out and tell you a little bit more about what we do and how I do it, and what might be a fit for you if you want to take this to the next level, and if this felt like an amazing click for you. And you want to explore what's next, because we have good things. We have good things that help you keep that channel clear, and we have good things that help you transform yourself, change your frequency, shift your vibration, and intentionally manifest in your life, in your business, in your love, in your health, in all of it. So, all right, everyone, you have a wonderful rest of your night. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.